Brand owners, how's it going? So if I'm looking a little puffy, it's because it's very early here in the US, but I'm with my friend Sumner. He is all the way around the world. Sumner is just a cool friend that I got from the Amazon industry. But before we get there, I want to let Sumner introduce himself. Remember that Prosper's coming up. Actually, Sumner's going to be speaking not alongside me, another event, another session, but he's also going to be speaking at Prosper. Remember that if you want to go to Prosper, there is a code right here below. Speak at Prosper to get $100 off your ticket. You should go. This is one of the biggest events of the year. There's a lot of learning sessions. People decide these sessions months in advance. We are deciding our session right now. I believe Sumner already designed his. So yeah, Sumner, really quick, man. I know why I trust you. Why should viewers trust you?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sumner Hobart, and basically, my wife and I, Ali, make up a husband-wife team. We've been selling on Amazon since 2018, and since then, I've done over $1 million in sales of our own products. I'm looking to really scale that this year, which I can get into a little bit later, which we're really excited about. Have a little kind of tips with that. But basically, we're sellers first. We find essentially different strategies and systems that work really well with our own brands and with other sellers that aren't really being talked about. And then we create content mostly on YouTube. We have some courses on Udemy, but basically try to, affordably and for free share a lot of success that we have with our own brands with fellow sellers. And that's kind of, how people know about us. But sellers first, then we have the content like this. And really excited to kind of share about today's topic because it's really powerful and the majority of sellers don't even know it exists.
Yeah, this is I believe what makes you very humble opinion here. I believe what makes Sumner a very successful seller is that he thinks outside of the box. He thinks of ways to get the most buck out of his the dollar he invested. One cool way is that he's very much data driven. He believes in data. He was one of the first influencers, quote unquote, if you want to be called an influencer, that believed in Share Studio. That was like 2 years ago. So that was very, very nice. We built a relationship throughout that year, professional relationship. We actually met in Vegas for the first time a year ago. No, like almost half a year ago in September last year,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. So it was very nice to finally put a face to the name. But I believe that's what makes him and his wife, Ali, which she's been here on this channel, successful sellers, is that they find creative ways and they maximize that, they capitalize on that. And one of the things he's going to be talking about today is that free, which is not really free because you have to pay first for brand registry. But once you have the brand registry, which is if you're an Amazon seller in 2023, you need brand registry. You just need brand registry. There's no debating anymore if you need it or not. That you just need it. You get this free tool, which is called Amazon Post. And that's what we're going to be talking about it. I'm a huge proponent of Amazon Post. Sumner, the thing you like the most about Amazon Post, one thing, so we can get the viewers clicking and we can get this click size bait for social media.
Yeah, the number one thing that I like about Amazon Post is that it's cheap, high quality traffic directly to your Amazon listing. So and what's great about Amazon Posts, another thing is you can reuse your existing brand assets, like your different creatives, for Amazon Posts. So in terms of the additional work or resources you need to allocate, it's extremely low. And the downside's very low, the upside's very high. So it's, very high ROI when done correctly, which I'll, share a little bit more about, but it's just cheap, high quality traffic, right?
Super good. So guys, remember that if you want to increase conversions, if you want to optimize your listing, watch these videos. Please subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to Sumner's channel. Sumner has had over 50,000 students on Udemy. So make sure that you listen to this. Make sure that you pay attention and you implement this, because this is gonna be a life changer. We're gonna launch a new video soon as well. I don't know if it's gonna be launched by the time this comes out, called Amazon Inspire. So this is this is part of Amazon becoming more and more social. Sumner has tried post for quite a while now, if I'm not mistaken. We've tried as well on our end. It's been very successful. So yeah, let's dig into it. Any questions? Leave it down below, okay, guys? Right.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead. We can dive right in. So yeah, basically, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process to ultimately drive 13-cent clicks to your Amazon listing, which if you've been running Amazon ads, Amazon PPC, then you probably might pique your interest a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get to it. So already kind of explained myself a little bit. You know, husband and wife team, kind of traveling around. Right now we're in Thailand. That's why it's so dark out, because it's kind of opposite time zone to Raphael. Selling since 2018. And like Raphael said, we're big believers in the kind of low fruit philosophy, which basically, right, if you envision a tree, there's fruit on the bottom, the middle, and the top of the tree. The fruit right there at the bottom is the easiest to grab. And what I see a lot of sellers doing is they're grabbing for the fruit at the top of the tree. So low-hanging fruit is essentially what are those simple, easy, inexpensive marketing initiatives that brands can take on that have very high ROI. And there may not be a lot of them, right? There might not be a lot of low-hanging fruit, but it is there. And this is a big, big kind of apple to pick that can be extremely profitable for your Amazon business. And specifically what we'll cover is kind of really briefly what Amazon posts are, which some people may already know, how they work, the real kind of meat, how to actually copy and paste this directly into your Amazon account, and then how to both kind of analyze results, what to look at, how to actually improve your results with time. Like what are the kind of key metrics to look at? So yeah, we'll go ahead and get to it. So first of all, what are Amazon posts? So a little bit controversial, but Amazon posts are not social media. It's actually located, and we'll talk about this later, under the advertising section. So here's an example of an Amazon post. So we have the brand name. We have the option to follow. You can actually follow kind of their storefront, follow other content that this brand puts out. You have the product image, caption, and an option to kind of see more. And then once someone clicks on see more, well, then it takes them and they can actually go and click directly your product listing. But like I said, it's not social media, as you can kind of see here. It's free real estate. It's free advertising, right? It's organic advertising. There's a reason that you'll find Amazon posts under Campaign Manager. And whether you want to call it social media or whatever, it still gets results. And that's really all that matters. So that's kind of what Amazon posts are, in my view. Like I said, free real estate or organic advertising. Where it shows up, so you kind of know what it is. Once you create it, where does it go? So these can appear on your own product detail page, you know, the image, the caption. They can appear on your Amazon product storefront, on your competitor product detail pages, which is really powerful. And that's what I really like about this, to where, yeah, you can organically show up, not just with your, you know, product targeting Amazon PPC ads showing up there. Then you also have your Amazon posts potentially showing up in your competitor product detail page and stealing market share from them, which is amazing. And also related category feeds. So overall, whatever kind of categories your product is listed in on Amazon, and there'll likely be multiple kind of categories and subcategories, then you can show up in related feeds. But for me, what's really big is my competitor product pages. That's what really excites me.
Yeah.
And once you kind of, so like these are the different placements. So once a Amazon shopper sees your Amazon post and they click on it, right? So they click to see more. Once they see more, then there's the option. You have a few different options. You can, you know, follow the brand. You can actually click to go to the product detail page. And that's actually like, some people kind of skip over this, but the more clicks so it's not a one click. That's what a lot of people don't know. It's not you click on the Amazon post and it takes you directly to the product that's related to that post. There's a couple steps in between. And if you know this, right, with marketing, the more clicks that someone has to go through in order to achieve a certain result, the people that are left there at the end of that funnel, right, there's a drop-off point at every single click. So the people that make it to the end, like the people that make it to the end of this video are the ones that are the most engaged audience. The people that make it to the end of the actual Amazon post and get to the product detail page are actually interested in this product. If it was just a one click, right, and I'll see how this plays out in a little bit because it seems insignificant now, but it's actually very important. If it was just one click, imagine the number of people that accidentally click on that Amazon post and then go directly to your product detail page or some like kind of window shopping, somewhat interested. But the more clicks they have to do, that's, you know, going to kind of filter out. So whoever ends up on your product detail page is a very high quality click, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like what Amazon posts are, how they're showing up. Yeah, exactly like Raphael said. And I completely 100% agree. Maybe a few years ago, I was in the camp of, yeah, brand registry, not really necessary. If you're launching a brand new product, it still isn't necessary, but is extremely valuable. And when you're launching a new product, at some point it is necessary. So that's the point. If you're launching a brand new product, it's not necessary, but it will definitely help you. The A+ content with conversion rate, access to brand analytics, access to Amazon posts, the different kind of transparency programs that they have, just adding the number of benefits with brand registry has never been higher. And Amazon posts is one of them. A+ content is another huge benefit, huge increase in conversion rate when done correctly, like Share It Studio does. So like I said, when you're starting off, maybe not as much necessary, but at some point, in my view, if you're serious about Amazon, it's 100%.
Yeah. I had a potential client the other day, and he told me he was just trying out Amazon. He didn't really want to invest a bunch into content, which is I completely understand. Obviously, I like to start off slow. I started my company with $5, so I understand that view. But he didn't even have brand. He didn't have brand registry. So the biggest problem for me as a content as a marketing agency basically is not knowing your demographics, right? So that part of brand demographics is extremely important, guys. Like we have clients who are selling literally male wallets, and 50% of their buyers are females because they're the partners, they're married, etc. So how can we know that? We can only know that once we have the data, and that's important. You can work with us, you can work with whoever you want. Just do something nice, just do something good, and even like A+ content, super important. Like Sumner said, Amazon Post, Amazon Inspire is gonna be extremely important as well in the near future. There's a lot of cool things that come with it, but the demographics is like knowing who your buyer persona is from Amazon, not because Helium 10 is telling you or any other websites telling you or the keywords or Google Trends, yada yada yada. The actual buyers right there and there. That's super important. When you started Sumner, how much do you think competition has increased since you started?
It's funny, Ali and I were just talking about this. It's increased significantly since we started in 2018. Significantly. It was crazy kind of it was also funny looking back at our first product listing, which we still sell, by the way, but sort of set it up as a test. We invested, I think, $8K total into our first product, and it was profitable from first month. 2018. Yeah, a little bit ago. Not even, there's some people, starting 2015, right? That 2014, it was like crazy, just launching a crap product and it's selling like crazy. But
yeah, how much do you think it's needed now to launch a product in 2023?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's extremely important at some point to get A+ content. I know it kind of depends on your goal. Some people are like, oh, I want to kind of test the marketplace. But if you're serious, you're like, hey, you have your, and especially now, like you're setting aside a certain amount of capital, 10 grand or so for your first product launch with everything, right? Like production, all the tools that you're using, high quality photography, video, all of that. If you're serious about this product launch and like you want to make sure that this is ultimately going to grow into a business that can fund your lifestyle and ultimately they can grow to sell for, hopefully like 7-8 figures, right? At some point, then yeah, it's never been more necessary than now. It's just going to give you an extreme competitive advantage over all the sellers who don't have it. And another point is that there's a lot of, and I know we're kind of talking about going off topic, talk about brand registry, but it's an important kind of topic, is also think about the number of sellers that have brand registry that are not utilizing all the tools like Amazon posts. I don't have the data in front of me because, well, I'm not surveying sellers, but I'm talking to hundreds of other sellers, new sellers, 7-figure, 8-figure sellers, and very small percentage are actually using Amazon posts, have even created one Amazon post. It's the minority. It's not the majority. And many of those sellers I talk to have brand registry. So it's like, so that's another, don't just get brand registry, but then also start utilizing things other than just A+ content, which is amazing, but the brand analytics, which is super powerful, data directly from Amazon, and I could go into a whole other video about that too, because it's amazing. But yeah, it's
the other day I was talking to a buddy of mine, very successful buddy of mine, and on Amazon, and we were comparing to going to the gym, right? So if you go to the gym and you just enter the gym and you sit somewhere and you're like, oh, I went to the gym. When they tell me like, I just want to try Amazon out, and people don't really invest or take the course or put a love into it. It's like you're half, I don't want to say it because I'm going to get banned, but you're just doing it halfway. You're doing it halfway and you're like, are you really trying Amazon? Because then you're going to go outside and be like, Amazon wasn't really successful. I'm like, okay, well, I know a lot of people who've been doing it and they've been really good at it. Maybe you didn't do it the correct way. So that's like, I didn't get the six pack. Well, maybe you didn't eat right. Maybe you didn't go to the gym enough. We're going off topic so much. Amazon Post actually has been out for a long time. It's been out for, I think, like 2 years already, like a year and a half. No, it's like 2 years, I would say, if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken.
I know when they first launched it with beta, and technically I think it's still in beta. That's what they call it, but yeah, it was in beta. It's been a while. I don't know exactly when it came out, but we've been posting for. Has it been over 2 years? I have to go back to our first post. I'll talk a little bit more about our first post here, and then kind of the mistake that I made starting off with the post. But it was,
back to the show.
But yeah, if you're gonna get started with Amazon, do it right. You have to check all boxes. You can't just check a few and expect it to go well. If you miss one box, meaning like, oh, I'll go halfway on my images, for example, or go halfway on the product quality, not use an inspection service, you will fail, period. All boxes have to be checked to be successful, not most. If you're 90% of the way there, you'll fail. So anyway, that's aside. I totally agree with that. But
Pichu, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, man. So we got our little genie in the background, Pichu. I don't know. It's very early over them, so I don't know if she wants to come and say hi. If you don't, Pichu, it's fine. But she just, here you go. So Pichu, when did Amazon Post launch? She already searched for it, obviously.
It was launched on July 2020. So it's been almost 3 years. Almost.
Yeah, 3 years, guys. It's starting to go mainstream. It's not really mainstream in the way, like, I understand it's not social media, but the way I can get sellers to understand it, it's like it's Amazon's way of giving you more value in terms of social, like give you inspiration, give you a way to view the product in other ways, and obviously, make you want to buy it. Obviously, that's how, like, it's like the word TikTok made me buy it. They're trying to launch a way to like grab that attention and like give you a simulation of how the product might look like. And the TikTok made me buy it thing, that's where Amazon Inspire is gonna come from, I believe. Which we're definitely gonna have to make a video about that in the near future. But okay, let's go back to it. I'm sorry, I always get sidetracked. I'm sorry, everybody. Always get sidetracked.
We kind of talked about brand registry. So that's one of the requirements in order to use Amazon Post. Like we already said, if you're not brand registered, definitely start getting your trademark ASAP and then get brand registered. And you also need an Amazon store, which, by the way, is super easy to kind of create. I maybe share it. You guys already have a video about this, or we'll create one. But yeah, it can be done fairly simply just to get started, just to get it. And then you can kind of build it out, make it more professional, add metadata so it shows up on Google, all that good stuff. But those are the two big requirements. And really, in the grand scheme, really not that difficult to do. And where you find Amazon Posts in your Seller Central account, like I said, you'll go to your actual campaign manager. Under tools and resources, you'll find posts. And once you click on that, you'll see the option to create and schedule posts. So like I said, kind of with the anatomy, first, you're going to upload an image, and Amazon will kind of give you their recommended image dimensions, which could change in the future. So if it's kind of evergreen, we can kind of see it there. An area for a caption, and we actually like to keep our captions fairly short. You can enter in one or more products. So you could, and I'll talk about this later as well, but you could specifically create a post for one product. It could be a product with its variations. So you have a green, purple, and blue t-shirt. You could advertise all of those together. Also, product collections. So you have kind of an array of products. Let's say it's like a, shampoo for dogs. There's a shampoo for dog. There's, something for their nails and dog collar, whatever. Like this kind of array of products for a certain type of dog. You can have all those three kind of different products there together. So a lot of kind of different creative things that you can do with it, other than just, hey, here's an image of a product, so there's one product. You can include more and ultimately create more permutations and have more Amazon posts in total and kind of reutilize that type of content. So ASINs, and then you can schedule, which is what we like to do, right? We create a lot of content kind of bulk every day, but schedule it kind of advance. But it's very, very simple. And if you're looking at it, it does look a lot like an Instagram post, right? Maybe minus the hashtags. You have the caption and the image. So there are a lot of kind of similarities there. And now kind of talking about what and how of Amazon posts, we want to dig into the results, right? Like, does this actually work and how does it work? So to date, and actually this is a slightly outdated, it's been more than this, but over 8,000 clicks to our product detail pages from Amazon posts, right? So literally thousands of additional clicks that we wouldn't have if we didn't utilize Amazon posts. And that's great, but really anytime that I see results, this goes into anything, whether it's Amazon posts or if this is like, a seller posting their amazing, screenshot of them doing, 10 million a year, is how much resources went into those results, right? And that's what I'm all about, is minimal resources in and then maximum ROI out. And in order to know and improve upon your systems, you need to know, you need to measure. So these clicks, these 8,000 clicks to our product detail pages cost us about 13 cents per click. It actually might be a little bit lower, but I want to estimate a little bit higher. So it costs us 26 cents per post to create. We've hired an amazing virtual assistant in the Philippines, $6 per hour. And she creates, and we track all of our time and everything, 21 posts per hour using our process. So that's kind of the key there. A lot of people were like, because I published a couple little tidbits on LinkedIn about this a while ago. It's a little bit outdated now, and that's why there's the updated kind of presentation. And a lot of people were like, there's no way, 26 cents per post. How are you doing this? And I'm like, you'll see. It's about creating a system and hiring someone to systematize posts, not to be super creative with every single post, but to not, I'll talk about it. I'll make it less complicated later, but creating a system. That's the key. That's the key point. And then to date, she's created 3,961 posts, and that has generated over 8,000 clicks. That's where we get the 13-cent cost per click. This is all tracked and measured. And that's why, right? Because there's no such thing as a free lunch. So even though it's sort of free real estate, right? There's some kind of resources that you have to put in. That's with anything, right? Like you invest in the stock market, it's not passive because you have to choose index funds or stocks to invest in. Same thing with Amazon posts. So, but still, in terms of the return, very, very high. And when we compare that, right? So a 13-cent cost per click on Amazon to our product detail pages, let's compare that with the average cost per click. And this could be a little bit different depending on the data source that you go to, but this is not to be specific. It's kind of overall, but like if you're paying clicks on LinkedIn, for example, if you see that, or Google ads, Facebook ads, right? Your average cost per click. So, so two things, right? Kind of scenario one, would you rather pay 13-cent cost per click on Facebook or Amazon? What would you have, Rafael?
Depends where your target audience is. But if I'm selling on Amazon, I would rather pay on Amazon, me specifically, so I can target my audience.
Yeah, and I know it's pretty general, right? Like let's say you're trying to build an email list. Okay, then maybe not Amazon, but in general, if you're trying to drive direct sales, let's say on Amazon, I prefer, people clicking on Amazon. Why? Yeah. Who's on Facebook, right? People who are looking for news, looking at what's going on with their friends and family, like, oh, I got a new dog, my grandma, whatever. Hopefully she's doing well. But anyway, that's why you're on Facebook. Who's on Amazon, right? Are you on Amazon to to just browse, or you're there to buy? So you're getting your ad or your social media, your content, your Amazon post right in front of people who are there to buy. You're getting them to ultimately click to your product detail page. So it's extremely, extremely powerful compared to for Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So a lower cost per click and a higher conversion rate, likely. And I'll talk about that next. But, I talk about this, right? So like, here's the cost per click. Here's the amount of effort we're putting in. And then people are like, logically, of course, like, great, Sumner, you're getting cheap clicks to your listing. What about sales, right? Very important question. And as we can see, the data that Amazon provides so far, and I hope they update this, they don't provide any sales data in a dashboard like they do with Amazon advertising. But I prefer that. I'm glad that they don't, because so many sellers get caught up with, they'll only advertise if they can see sales in a dashboard. If there's not a dashboard that shows them, hey, I put in this much money and got this many sales on Amazon, they won't invest. This goes into Google ads, Pinterest ads, Facebook ads, email list building. This goes into Amazon posts, which is amazing, because if my competitors are limiting themselves to only advertise on Amazon, so let's say 90% or 100% of their advertising budget is Amazon PPC, and Amazon PPC is an amazing tool. We invest heavily. The majority goes toward Amazon PPC, but they're not doing anything else. Having this diversified traffic gives us a competitive advantage.
Really quick, do you think Amazon PPC is gonna get costlier this year?
Yeah, it'll get more expensive for sure. The average cost per click for Amazon ads will continue to increase because it's all math, right? At least in my view. I mean, there's different opinions about this. We can't really predict the future, but there's there's only so many levers, right, that can be moved when it comes to Amazon ads and kind of cost per click. So so it's kind of like, how quickly is Amazon's market share increasing? The number of new kind of adopters, at least in the United States marketplace, increasing. So there's kind of how, like, the whole bubble of Amazon, how much is that increasing? Number two, how many new ad placements is Amazon putting out? Number three, how quickly is competition increasing? So is competition increasing faster than Amazon's growing? I'm seeing that, right? I think there's data that supports that. It doesn't mean that it's a bad opportunity at all. It just, you need to kind of change your strategy. But I think the average cost per click will increase. Continue this. We've already seen that all, from 2021, 2022, there's a clear increase. We have the data that supports that. 2022, 2023, I think we're clearly going to see that as well. So also, while that's happening, I'm seeing 13-cent cost per click with Amazon posts. I can tell you, I don't see sales in a dashboard, and I'm thrilled and ecstatic because I'm able to get people who are on Amazon, who are on my competitors' product detail pages. They see my post, click on it, going to my listing. I know a percentage you're purchasing. And we look at our unit session percentage rates, and they definitely have not decreased. I was actually talking, I don't know if you know Norman Farrar. He's big white beard. You may have seen him. I don't actually know if he was at Prosper. Anyway, he's actually one of the first guys who kind of talked about Amazon posts and got me onto it. And then as soon as I heard it from him, I went like hard on it. And he was mentioning that he was actually, with some of his clients who implemented Amazon posts, their unit session percentage rate, or basically your Amazon conversion rate, increased after implementing Amazon posts, right? So that was another kind of question that certain people had that I talked to, other sellers, is like, hey, isn't this going to hurt your conversion rate? Because, maybe you get a bunch of cheap clicks, but they don't end up buying. It's not, for me, it's not a large enough, it's great, like 8,000 clicks, that's amazing. Again, all I care about is resources in and then our output, and it's definitely justified. But in the grand scheme of things, like I said, we have a lot more resources being allocated toward Amazon PPC, toward Google ads, Pinterest ads, TikTok content, Pinterest content, TikTok ads, email list building. So in terms of the pie of our kind of our marketing and advertising, Amazon Post makes up a small piece, but it's maybe my favorite piece because it's such a high ROI. So because of that, it makes up a smaller kind of piece of our total marketing strategy. It doesn't have as big of an impact, whether it's positive or negative, on our unit session percentage rate. But based on some other sellers that I've seen, certain sellers have noted their unit session percentage rate staying the same or increasing. We've noted that there's no negative impact with which would indicate that it's converting somewhat. And for me, I would look at it somewhat like, with our product targeting Amazon ads, I would say it should convert somewhat similarly to our Amazon posts, and kind of use that as a base metric.
Yeah, the other thing I would like to add is that we saw with one of our clients that we do Amazon posts for, is he started getting more followers on, as you know, now you can follow brands on Amazon. Maybe right now it's not a huge thing, but remember when there was these influencers on social media, and then you saw somebody with the blue check on Twitter or the blue check on Instagram, or you saw the one with the first 1 million followers. So you're like, oh, it's not really that important. Now influencers are like literally how brands like to advertise, because it's the closest way and the most effective way. At some point, I don't know which point, at some point, maybe even Amazon's gonna divulge the amount of influence, yes, that the brand has over its shoppers. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that at some point it's going to happen. And and most likely, Amazon's going to give you even more premium access to those followers, because right now you have some sort of premium access to those followers. But imagine that if your brand has 1 million followers on Amazon, that's huge. That's very big. And that's also going to give you leverage when you're going to exit your brand, if you ever want to exit your brand, correct? That's another selling point for your brand. So Amazon post, I see as something that's like, dude, it's like you're not investing a lot of money into it. Just keep doing it, keep getting better at it. And why waste the opportunity to get free, literally real estate on your competitor's listing? That's like a no-brainer. That's what you want, right? To steal market share and to increase your sales. All right, go back to Sumner.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And actually, on top of that, something somewhat new, in Amazon, if it's a month old, it's old news. It's so old, right? So this is a few months ago, but Amazon is now increasing, just like you said, to where you're kind of building up this following on your storefront and for your brand. So for different content you put out and different products that you start putting out, there's actually now, I believe this is in beta, I think it's just for the US, that you can start using email marketing for your followers. So that's even more powerful, to where if you have this following and your competitors don't, or other sellers don't, that again gives you an even more advantage. So there's the indirect benefit of Amazon posts that are now kind of coming out, other than just the direct clicks and ultimately sales that you're going to get from it. So it's a powerful tool. And I don't understand why more sellers aren't using it. It might just be from lack of content, like just the people who are seeing some great results. I've talked to some other sellers killing it, and they don't post any content because they're not content creators. So I'm like, okay, like it's just not as well known. And you have to test everything. I'll mention this kind of later at the end, but with anything that you kind of learn online, something could work super well for one product because that's the nature of the product in the category, but it doesn't work nearly as well for yours. So you just have to set up a minimal viable test. But it's very easy to create 30 Amazon posts, right? And just let them run and see what happens. And if it goes well, create more. And if it doesn't, then maybe don't. But it's at least worth setting up, some sort of test, in my view. And I think for a lot of sellers, you're going to see some really great results. So yeah, I agree that I think it's worthwhile endeavor to at least begin.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a little side note about sales, because that's an obvious question. That's kind of my take on it. But with everything you've seen so far, if that excites you, you want to copy and paste it with your own Amazon brand, here's our secret process. And the good news is this is very, very simple. So first thing you want to do is, if you're watching this and you're already selling on Amazon, you likely already have product images, lifestyle images, kind of white background images, or whatever that might be. Gather all of those high quality images and upload them somewhere. And we like to use just a Google Drive folder that's shared by our team. So we have our Google Drive folder with all of our kind of creative assets, and we can continue to update those creative assets every month. And on the second side, we have a Google Sheet. And in the Google Sheet, each tab we have represents a different product. So product A, product B, product C, product D. And we write 5 to 7 captions pre-made in each kind of tab. So super simple. We basically take our 5 bullet points and we tweak them a little bit just where they would make sense, right? Maybe you're using all caps or emojis. We get rid of, we want to make sure that it's in sentence, or we want to make sure it's in the proper sentence structure and grammar. So we manipulate them a little bit to where we take our bullet points, which should highlight a certain feature or benefit of your product, and basically make 5 to 7, captions based on those bullet points, the work that you've already done. So you already have the images. There you go. You already have the bullet points. Now you have captions. So you have all the content that you need to get started. And then what we do is, and here's an example of us kind of taking, so like, this is just an example. This isn't our actual product, but convenient shower curtain hooks, et cetera, et cetera. Here's kind of the bullet point, and here's how we condense it down. And we found just overall that our top performing posts, the captions are less than 120 characters. I know certain sellers will use a strategy of having I think it was a seller that was selling some kind of cookbook, that they had a cookbook, and then for their caption, they had a very long, sample recipe from their cookbook, which is really kind of innovative. But other than that, for a lot of other sellers, I think shorter captions make sense, because the biggest reason, it's less likely that when you create a post, that'll be rejected by Amazon. So the longer your post, the more likely that Amazon's robot is going to trigger some kind of grammatical error or some kind of issue. And then it's rejected. You have to you have to hey, we corrected the mistake. Here it is again, right? So you create a post, hopefully it goes through, but we've noticed that when it's 120 characters or less in the caption, it goes through, and it's very easy to make a caption's 120 characters. You don't have to put a ton of effort into it, especially when you have your bullet points.
100%.
So once you have those two pieces together, the images and the captions, then it comes to systematizing, right? So what I like to do, or how I kind of start off unknowingly, I started creating the system without knowing, is I created 5 Amazon posts to start. Actually, I created 30, I think, on my own. But what you can do is create 5 Amazon posts or more on your own, and make sure you're timing how long it takes you. So how long does it take you to take the image, take the caption, put them together in Amazon posts, schedule the post, right? Per post. And I already showed you some of the data that we have on how long it takes us. Then what we do is, once we kind of nail down the time, I was like, okay, we know exactly how long it takes for us to create 10 Amazon posts. And we want to create, let's say, X number of posts per day. You know exactly how much time it's going to take. Then what you can do is hire for that task. You're like, okay, I know it takes, 4 hours a week. Then I'm going to hire someone or take one of my existing team members and give them, if they have the availability, this 4 hours a week to create Amazon posts. And in order to teach this person, right, what I like to use is Loom. I think I don't actually know, we might be using the free plan ourselves, but there's a free plan that's amazing. It's a screen recording software. So you just record yourself like, here's where you go. First, you go to Google Drive, open this folder. Here's all the images. Take image 1, go to Google Sheets, take caption 1, put them together and schedule for that day. And then here's the next post and so on, literally just showing your exact process to outsource. And then where we like to outsource is, we're not affiliated. We outsource from onlinejobs.ph. We love, there's great virtual assistants all around the world. We found a lot of great virtual assistants specifically in the Philippines. So we go to onlinejobs.ph, we take our job posting. Hey, we need someone to create Amazon posts. Here's how many hours it would be per week. Here's, kind of what we expect from you. You can outsource it and then hire someone for $5 an hour in US to ultimately kind of do this, right? Or you can do it yourself if you're a solopreneur and you don't want to get into outsourcing just yet. But at that point, that's another thing. Once you reach a certain point, you need to kind of start building your team. So after you've kind of done it yourself, you've outsourced it, it's now systematized, you want to evaluate your results, right? So some different things that we look at. So number one is Amazon posts are content, right? So when you're running Amazon ads, you're running the ad, it turns off, then the traffic's over, right? You're bidding on a keyword, then you stop bidding on it, the traffic goes away. With Amazon posts, it's like the opposite, right? It's organic content. So it actually takes time to really ramp up. And that was the mistake that I made when I first created Amazon posts. I created, like I said, I think it was around 30. I created 30 posts and I looked over the next 30 days. So basically 60 days total, 30 days of creating posts, then 30 days of analyzing. And I forget what my clicks were, but they were very low for the effort I put in. So I said, and I made a YouTube video that I took down, and I said, Amazon posts don't work. Here's the time I put in. Here's the results that I put back. And then, of course, someone commented like, hey, Sumner, but wouldn't there be long-term ranking benefit to Amazon posts? Like, wouldn't they get traction for months to come? And me being cynical, I'm like, with Amazon? No, they'll never do that. Like, they'll never allow me to get free traffic. But so I just kind of ignored it. I was like, oh yeah, maybe, whatever. And 6 months passed. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I made some Amazon posts. Let me check in and see how I did. And the 6th month after I created posts was the highest performing month of my posts. It took 6 months for it to really start picking up. And it was getting traction every single month. So then I realized, I'm like, okay, already within 6 months, given the amount of clicks and traffic that I'm getting to my listing, the amount of effort I put in, this can actually be very, very profitable for me. Oh my gosh. I went from Amazon posts don't work to where they do work. And that's, and a lot of sellers, I think, run into that. It was another seller I was just talking to did the exact same thing. They're like, yeah, we created some posts. We waited 30 days. We didn't see any traction, so they don't work. I'm like, I'm not the only one. So you, as always, right? If you're a restaurant, and you're getting clients in the door, always look at the lifetime value. So which surprises me, like I said, with Amazon, I know they're pretty aggressive in, especially when it comes to ad space. So I'm shocked and I'm really thankful that posts are getting this very long-term benefit. We still, like, posts that we created 2 years ago are still getting traction today, like this month. So that's amazing, right? Like, that's something you would expect with like a blog post on Google, Pinterest content, but you're seeing that on Amazon posts. That's amazing, right? So that's another where it kind of goes with the social media aspect of it that people can kind of see is that long-term organic ranking and, or not really ranking, but placement, right? Like, you're going to be on your competitor product pages for a while. So that's great.
Yeah, we got actually the same experience with one of our clients, with all of our clients actually. It's a slow process. It's like, again, I think going to the gym is relatable to like 90% of the humans. So you go to the gym today, you're not gonna get a six pack tomorrow. You need time. You need time to develop, right, your body. You need time to develop the Amazon post. It's literally how it is. Like, if you post today, in a week, you won't see that amount. Actually, our post, at least get a week. They need like 2 weeks to pick up. And then the ones that we posted first, obviously, are the ones who generate more and more traffic. And it's just like a snowball effect, man. Like, it develops over time. And once you know it, you're like, you have this huge store. You're like, oh man, I'm doing something. It's like, yeah, that's how you need to start though. But yeah, man, it does take time. Just like social media, actually, just like marketing on social media. It's not like a quick process. It does take time. And this is how it is for Amazon Post as well. It does take time.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It really does. And actually, there's even more data that kind of supports that as well, like in the presentation. But yeah, so it takes, like we found, about 6 months to really start, like it'll start picking up, within a couple of weeks. Even in a few days, you might see certain posts start taking off. But really, like, don't just even cap it at 30 days, which you might think is a lot of time. Wait for 6 months if you're going to wait. But I would say keep creating content during that 6 months. But the kind of bare minimum, create 30 posts and then wait 6 months, and you should see that traction start to pick up. Once that time period kind of elapses, look at your unit session percentage rate. Did it increase or decrease during that time? Look at your total sales. Also look at your top performing content as well, because from our own data, this is just our own data. I would love to have like all Amazon post data, and that would be amazing, but I can share our own personal results. And I'm sure this holds true though. It's the same thing, 80-20. But we have 3.6% of our posts are generating 80% of clicks to our product detail pages. So what does that mean? So if you create 100 posts, you can expect 3 or 4 of those posts to generate 80% of clicks. So it's a very, very small margin. So that's another mistake that I think a lot of sellers get into, is they make, let's say, even 29 posts, right? Just shy of that 30 mark. And they're like, it takes at least 30 for one of those posts to go viral, right? To really start generating traffic. So if you create less than 30 posts, I wouldn't expect any results from that. Very, very low traffic. And for whatever reason, and this is back before, which I'll say later as well in kind of the hack section, but you used to be able to repost the exact same image over and over again, which is amazing. We have posts right now. They're almost identical. I think we even have some posts that have the image and caption are identical, both. And one post performed super well. It's getting great clicks and everything. And other one is completely dead, like only like 2 clicks, right? Like in this lifetime. So for whatever reason, I don't know why. And I really don't care also to understand the Amazon algorithm. All I care is the result. So it's like, okay, this is what we're seeing. I don't know why it's happening, but there's 1,000 reasons for why it could be, like the time that you posted. If your competitors are also posting at the same time period, high season, like certain keywords that were in your caption, things like that. But that's what we were finding. Now you can't post the exact same image. Otherwise, Amazon's going to give you an error. It says like, duplicate content or duplicate image detected. And I don't actually know the exact wording because it's my VA who tells me this stuff. And then I'm like, okay, let's improve the system and move on. But with that in mind, that's another, with this data point, you basically know that you need to create a fair amount of content with Amazon posts to really start seeing those results. It can't just be a few posts and then hope that they, kind of blow up. So that's just a really interesting point that we saw. We actually did, when we were preparing this presentation, we went back and looked and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And we've kind of adjusted from that. And some best practices when it comes to creating your Amazon posts, what we found is that like a lot of lifestyle images perform really well. All images like can perform well. It's not just one type this is dominating, but overall we're finding lifestyle images performing better. I think because on the product page, you're seeing a lot of like, white background images on Amazon in general, right? That's the first image that you see. That's kind of Amazon's requirement. It looks great, but it's just kind of, white background or very simple. So having more of those lifestyle images, or even we've actually had a few posts, our top performing posts, that are actually the images suck. Like it was one of our customers taking a photo at night with their kid, like using the product. And so it's kind of, grainy, right? Because it's like super high ISO. They needed like to take the photo and like, but it performed really well. And I think it's because, not that I'm encouraging, like, hey, get crappy photos. Like, no, like get good quality, like lifestyle images, but that it was a pattern interrupt for people who are scrolling on product detail pages, seeing that raw kind of lifestyle image and like, oh, this is interesting. Like, oh, and also the implicit social proof. Like, okay, actually other human beings are actually using this. Because, okay, like I know the reviews can be faked. Like I know they can make these beautiful images, but this seems more real. So maybe there's a level of trustworthiness. So that's just a little data point that we noticed. Again, not saying get crappy photos and they'll perform super well. Not at all. But mixed with lifestyle images and more kind of having images of your product being used in a realistic setting, I think could perform really well. But at the end of the day, take all your creative assets and test them. That would be my recommendation, because some will take off and others won't. Like I said, for captions, we found around 120 characters. So yeah, keep them under 200 characters. And something that we do, I don't know if this helps our success or not. I can't confirm for 100%, but I'm just kind of using my common sense. And I'm like, okay, let me make sure that I include keywords. So Amazon, because we create content on Pinterest, we create blog content, YouTube content, TikTok content, Twitter content, LinkedIn content. So we create content on all these other social platforms and search engines. And I'm like, okay, on all these other platforms, if I include keywords, it helps the search engine understand what my content is about and better serve to my specific audience. So what we like to do is include at least one keyword in our captions. And I believe that that helps Amazon better distribute our content, our Amazon posts. But I can't confirm it. So you can test it. Use keywords, then maybe don't use keywords and see what happens. But I don't know, that's what we found.
Oh yeah, please. No, finish your points. I have another ones.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And then, like I said, recapping with time, it can take 6 months or more to really see a post gaining traction. Like some posts we've noticed, very, very low for 6 months. And on that 6th month, kind of really pick up, and then the months afterwards. So like, give it time. And then also, little hack. So you can do this with what you will. Amazon does not allow duplicate images. But guess what? If you have an image and it's cropped barely cropped in from the margin, that's a new image. So take your images, crop them slightly. That's a new image. Crop it slightly again, use it. So for certain images, you can get like 5 images out of one image, if that makes sense, right? A little hack that, and guess what? Our virtual assistant came up with this. I would never have thought of this on my own. She's awesome. She's like, hey, Sumner, Amazon wouldn't let me use the same image again. So I just cropped it a little bit and then went through. I'm like, awesome, let's do it. Like, let's keep doing that. Not saying that that's ideal, that just keep cropping your image until it's like this blown out, horribly disgusting looking.
It's just an eye. That's it.
It's a blurry eye. No, but you can consider, especially for if you have certain images that are a bit larger, that you can actually crop down, and as long as it's slightly different.
When we run the Amazon posts, clients that have a lot of listings, if we add more listings, ASINs, SKUs, links, whatever you want to call it, to the actual photo, they get more traction. Those posts get more traction. For example, if we have a client that sells, I don't know, wallets, right? And wallet 1, 2, 3, 1 through 10, different colors. And the same photo, Sumner holding the wallet. And we only tag one listing 1, and then the same exact photo. And we tag 5 of those listings. The one with the most amount of listings gets more traction.
I'll have to look into that. That could very well be true. Now I'm super excited. I want to look in our data and see if that's the case with us as well. And I think it might be. And that's actually an interesting point. So but yeah, and in the end, the key is don't just use lifestyle image. Don't just use multiple, test with different, to where you have different types of images, that you have different caption lengths. You're using keywords, you're not using keywords, and then ultimately see how Amazon's algorithm reacts and what they're kind of favoring, and then kind of double down on that. But yeah, exactly like you said, what you're finding is hey, these are kind of the data that we're finding that Amazon really likes. So we're going to double down on this because it's obviously working for this client or for even all of these clients.
And the other thing that we found that's super, super cool, it's a little geeky, but the algorithm, nobody really knows how it works except the engineers at Amazon, right? So just like you just said, what does the algorithm take into consideration? Well, the first month that we did, 1 week we posted, it was for a wallet, we posted lifestyle nature. The other week we posted lifestyle, office lifestyle, and then we segmented based on activities that most likely the buyers are gonna have. And we found out that travel lifestyles were way more engaging. So we started creating way more travel lifestyles, and that increased exponentially the curve, the interaction, the impressions. So also that's something that I would highly recommend viewers are watching this. Depending on your product, obviously, if you're selling something for kitchens, not the same as selling something for sports, etc. But there's a segmentation within that. see how they use it, and try different things. And I would do it per me personally. We did it per week, and that actually really worked. And then we grabbed that data and executed for that specific type of content, and it worked very well as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's brilliant. No, I agree 100%. But exactly, it's kind of like you're starting off with the shotgun approach, right? Throwing crap up against the wall and seeing what sticks. And then whatever sticks, then you double down on that. That's the key that I think a lot of people miss out on. And you brought up a really great point. Like I said, we're kind of, and what we're doing too is we're kind of gathering, we have our own kind of lifestyle product images, and maybe we'll partner with you later. We'll talk later about like maybe creating some more content, like specifically for posts, which is obviously, if we have like I said, like how Sherritt could do it. I don't know if you guys are already doing this, but even having like, because Amazon doesn't like exact duplicate images, if it's slightly different, it's like, you know, like there's a water bottle and this is beautiful kind of display and you're taking a photo of it. And like you change some elements of the display around. It's the same display, but like the elements were kind of like you had a picture frame and this, and you switch the picture frame with the clock, take the photo, like, so like variation images to just have like, so it's fairly low additional time. Sorry, I'm like getting into, I always have like ideas and then I like share them. So like this might not be yours and I apologize, but yeah, you could, there's ways that, you know, I'm sure partner with you guys, which we might, you know, be interested in is, yeah, kind of like finding a way to like just rapid fire on certain types of like lifestyle images. And then, yeah, have those different categories, which is brilliant. You could look at your own Amazon reviews and you look at your Amazon review images as well as the actual review data. You can download the data with the Helium 10 Chrome extension, put that data into Chat GPT, and then have Chat GPT tell you the top things automatically within 5 seconds. It'll tell you what the top categories people are using this for. Amazing. So that's a brilliant point that we didn't really think about. And I think that's amazing. But yeah, like but having like scattered, but intentional, like it's all strategic of like, all right, we're going to create kind of, you know, for this kind of content around travel, around office, around home, etc. You know, create all these posts for a 6-month period, see what's performing the best, and then just double down on the 1 or 2 types that are performing, and then go from there. But that's
100%. Okay, go back to presentation. Apologies, guys. We always get sidetracked. Just get excited.
Yeah, but I think it's good. I hope it's been valuable for me. I'm sure, you know, I hope it's been valuable for everyone else. But yeah, it's pretty much just to recap. You know, gather your existing, just to get started. Gather your existing product images, any user-generated content that you have on Instagram with their permission. You can use that as well. Put them all into, you know, Google Drive. You got your Google Sheets with the captions. Once you're there, create a few posts yourself, record the amount of time it takes, outsource to someone, or you can do it yourself if you're a solopreneur. And then what I recommend is creating at least 180 posts over a 6-month period. And then going back, like we said, and analyzing that content, right? So you can analyze as a whole, is this working or not? And if it's not working, if there's very, very low clicks for the amount of effort and resources you put in, then look at like, okay, overall it's not working, but maybe for some of our SKUs, it's actually working super well, right? So that's kind of like diving in. But even then, let's say you dive in, still nothing's really working well. You tweak, you try some other things, still not working well. You may find that for certain brands in certain time periods that Amazon posts are going to work way better than others. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth testing, but keep in mind, there's no guarantee, right? You can't just guarantee like, oh, you're going to create Amazon post using this strategy and you're just going to kill it. Like, every product is different. And we've noticed that like, you know, press releases. Some people use that for product launches. For certain products, it's amazing. It works super well. You send in a press release and all these agencies kind of pick it up or journalists pick it up and, you know, write about it. And others, it doesn't. So it's like Instagram, right? You sell a garden hose, you're trying to make Instagram content. It's like, unless you're creative and you use creative packaging and your garden hose looks like a snake and it's orange and yellow and whatever, but it's traditional like garden hose, it's green, it looks like everyone else. Maybe Instagram isn't your best, right? So every product's different. Set up a minimum viable test. But I definitely think Amazon posts are at least worth testing. That's the key takeaway that I would like to share with my fellow sellers. And then, yeah, I think people can get the presentation if they scan this. They can get the PDF that they can actually download and have it if they want it. So, and my socials are on there as well in case you want to follow me. It's all there.
That's very
yeah.
Sumner legend, man. That was very, very good. I think that the amount of the way you can leverage Amazon posts, I like to call like ninja stealthy approach to marketing. Like you can literally appear in your competitors' feeds, in your competitors' listings, by doing this. Like how much would you, ask you a question, how much would you pay for your image of your product to appear on your competitors' listing? You probably pay for that, right? So if you're paying for that, why not do it for free if you already paid for it via your brand registry through Amazon Post? It's there. It's literally there. You just have to utilize it. It's like,
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of sellers that are willing to, like, if you're running product targeting with Amazon PPC, you're paying to show up on your competitors' product detail pages. So you could pay less to show up, basically free, right? Very inexpensive. Or you could utilize an agency like you guys, which I'm sure kill it and take it to the next level in terms of content. And diversifying, right? It's not even just like, oh, these are cheap clicks. Like these are cheap clicks that are also coming from another source. For me, I'm like a huge, I didn't realize this, but like I'm a huge proponent of diversification. I diversify everything. Like we want to diversify where our team is located. We want to diversify where our marketing traffic's coming from. We diversify our sales channels. We don't just sell on Amazon. We sell on Etsy, on Walmart, on Shopify, on eBay. So it's high ROI, and it's outside of the Amazon advertising platform, which is beneficial to you, right? And it's content that you have. Yeah. And then of course, like you said, like every post that you create, that's another asset with your business that when you go to sell your Amazon brand, that you can sell along with it. The followers that you get from that, those are all, those have a monetary value. Even if it's seemingly low per follower, it adds up. So it's a very powerful asset that can help you in the short term and the long term.
100%. I couldn't agree more with you. I remember the first video you posted. I remember when we were about to launch Amazon Post there, and we we're like, what can we do now? And we were planning to, like, because I was coming off social media at that point. I was working at Nickelodeon, social media for Nickelodeon at that point. And I was like, hey, this is like, I was looking for a way to like implement social media strategies on Amazon. I was like, how can we implement it? And we saw Amazon Post. That was like 2 years ago, guys. And it was like, oh man, this is it. Let's do it. I saw a video. I was like, okay, let's try something else. But imagine that 6 months afterwards, you're like, no, this actually did get traction. This is the moment, guys. Like it's like that. I think it's an Asian proverb. It says, the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. The best time is today, right? The second best time is today. So if you didn't do it 6 months ago, if you didn't do it 2 years ago, if you didn't do it a week ago, start right now. At least start with something. Competition's only gonna get worse or better on Amazon. And the only way to attack that is to leverage all the tools that Amazon's given you. Again, I'm gonna say it again, Amazon Inspire is gonna come out. It's in beta right now. It's gonna be crazy. And I believe that this is Amazon's way of trying to be more social. They already have the e-commerce game figured out. They're the best. They're the number one. They're the ones who want most amount of traction. Now they want to get the attention. That's why they benefit or they give prizes to people who bring traffic outside of Amazon. They leverage, incentivize that, right? So they know they have the e-commerce game on lock. Now they want to be a little bit more like, hey, maybe instead of using that TikTok and buy it, look at this Amazon post. Maybe this Amazon post incentivized me to buy it because it moved my emotions. Maybe it's the wallet hiking through the woods. Like, oh, I can see myself hiking through the woods every day with this wallet. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, going off topic again. Sumner, anything you want to say? Closing statements.
No, the only other closing statement, this might be random, but I think it's an interesting tidbit. So obviously, being from Cincinnati, like every other person I know works for Procter & Gamble. Old Spice, people don't know. Old Spice, Charmin, Bounty, like the whole family of products. But Old Spice, you mentioned this about wallets, right? And this is a really kind of key random point that's, I think, beneficial to know. Yeah, knowing your audience. You're selling a men's wallet, let's say, but 50%, even 40, 50% of your shoppers and customers are female. If you see an Old Spice ad, right? If anyone's seen it, go on YouTube and just find they're cute, funny. But you have this very, attractive, very muscular guy on a white horse, right? So you're thinking like, okay, was this ad made for men? In general, no, not for most men. It was made for women. It was made for women because Procter & Gamble saw in their data that women were the ones buying deodorant for their men because they're like, man, you have body odor? Because also another data point going above that, women's sense of smell is significantly more heightened than men. So women will be able to pick up on scents where men can't, in general. And obviously it depends. Because of that, then women were noticing, man, this happened to me several times, especially after I work out. Like, oh, Sumner, you're stinking a little bit. You need to get some Old Spice. Here you go. Here's your white elephant gift, right? Like, here's your, getting some. So the female's actually making the purchase decision. So that's a huge data point. And that's like, you could see yourself struggling for sales. It's like, that could be a big part of it. I know this goes a little bit off topic, but that's super key. And you may just assume, oh, it's a product for men or women or for whatever. It doesn't just mean that that's the only kind of audience that's buying it. And you can pivot, right? If you look at a category on Amazon, I give this example is like bath bombs. There's all different types of bath bombs. If I'm going to sell a bath bomb, it's not going to just be a general bath bomb. It needs to be specific. I need to appeal to a specific audience that's buying bath bombs, but not there. Like, let's say there's a lot for women, for kids, but there's none for men. Let me make masculine bath bombs. Yes, it might be a smaller subset of the market, but guess what? I dominate bath bombs for men. Like, hone in on that. I think that's what's going to happen. If I really dominate in that sub niche with my Amazon PPC and everything, start ranking for those keywords, it can actually help me increase rank for bath bomb as a whole and actually show up on page 1 when someone types in bath bomb. Yes, it's for men, but I can start ranking for more competitive keywords as well later on. So anyway, data is super important. Like in anything you do, Amazon posts, selling on Amazon, know your data. And collect as much data as you can because it's gold. So this is a random side point I want to make.
No, that's true. That's where I believe that's where the currency is. Like actually a lot of when you're going to sell your business, that's a key thing that, whoever's going to buy it looks at it, data. Who's your buyer persona? How big is your email list? What's your engagement outside of Amazon? Are your sales only coming from Amazon? There's a lot of things that they look at. So good job on this diversifying. That's very important, actually. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're over an hour. We apologize. We try to make this as quick as possible. I hope you got some insights from here. I hope this is going to help you build your brand a little bit more. Here, if you want to work with us, you can. Please schedule. We're going to leave the link down below. Schedule a complimentary marketing consultation. If not, go to Fiverr, go wherever, but just make sure that you're building your brand, that your brand is growing, and you're taking the most advantage of it. Because again, most 80% of Amazon sellers are trying to escape the 9-to-5 rat race, or they're trying to build something for their families. So if there's any way that Share Studio can contribute with that, please let me know. We'll be more than happy to do so. Also, remember to check Sumner's all his social media. He has great content. I love the content that he's putting out. So make sure you go follow him. He travels a lot. He's on the side of the world, but he's always creating content, and he's speaking at Prosper, not alongside me, but he's speaking another day. But he's also speaking at Prosper. Very important. If you haven't gone to Prosper and you want to go, use this code Speak at Prosper to get $100 off your ticket. Prosper is one of the biggest events of the year. There's gonna be a lot of data. Something's gonna be talking about Amazon Post, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna be talking about effective content for your listing. Ours is gonna be a 2.5-hour workshop. So make sure you tune. If you're there, please make sure you go and support me. Like hooray, Rafa, yes. Peaches gotta be there helping me as well, and Maddie Walls has gotta be there speaking with me as well. Any questions, leave it down below. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We promise. We always get back to everybody. So Peaches, you want to add anything? Peaches in the background like, oh my God, so early.
Hi. No, I would add that Amazon Post is super important because also right now Amazon Inspire is going to be very hot. Like it's the new launch, and it's going to be very important for you to have Amazon Post because you can only access Amazon Inspire if you're using Amazon Post. So make sure you leverage on that and make sure to really utilize that content and take every bit of like traffic that you can get from it. So it's very important for you to use Amazon Post because it's going to help you. So make sure to tune in. We're also going to be doing a video on that. So make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified once we post that. And that's it basically.
All right, guys, have a good one. Ciao.